Today we are going to go over how to enter a rental transaction into the service program. The first thing that we need to do is head to the top toolbar and select Rental Info. That will open up a sub-menu here, and from there we can select the top option that says Enter a New Rental. That will bring us to our rental transaction screen. In a previous video, we talked about the importance of parent-job relationships and how to handle customers that are renting assets from you at multiple locations. So you can always refer back to that video to get some more information on how to set up parents and jobs. For today's example, we're going to select the parent Adams Contractors and the job 491 Hemlock Boulevard. Now when I selected that 491 Hemlock Boulevard customer, it preloaded the billing address and shipping address. So as you can see, it inherited the billing address from Adams Contractors, 123 Elm Street, Vero Beach. And then it also preloaded the shipping address. That's where the assets are going to be delivered to, which is 491 Hemlock Boulevard, Cocoa. The next step here is to add our line items to the rental transaction. So whatever it is that they are renting from you. So along the bottom here in the second column, from the item dropdown, I'm going to select Portable Toilet Rental. You'll notice it preloaded the description for that line item from QuickBooks. At this point, we can also select a serial number if we need to, if you're tracking your rental inventory through our system. This is not required if you're not tracking your rental inventory. So if your assets do not have serial numbers, you do not have to select a serial number or input a serial number. For the purpose of today's example, we're not going to input one. You'll also notice it loaded the default sales price for this line item from QuickBooks, which I have set to $100. This can be edited in the service program. So maybe this customer gets a discount because they rent a lot of toilets from us. We can adjust that $100 to $90. The pricing is truly controlled in our software. And for today's example, maybe this customer is going to be renting more than one portable toilet from us. Now, it's best practice to go ahead and add another line item for the additional toilet. The reason being is because if you do track your rental inventory in the service program, you can only tie one serial number to one line item. If you don't track your rental inventory in our software, then you can just go ahead and adjust the quantity on the line item from 1 to 2. After we've adjusted the pricing here, we need to take a look at the columns to the right of the total field to determine whether or not we are going to prorate from a billing perspective. If you bill in the rears or in advance and you need to send a prorated invoice, you want to go ahead and fill in the prorate bubble here for each asset. There's also a run once column here. There may be items that we only want to include on the first invoice, such as a delivery charge. We could absolutely add the delivery line item. You'll notice it loads our default description and default sales price, $20. And from there, we can go ahead and fill in the Run Once radio button. And what we're doing is telling the service program to only include the delivery charge on the first month's invoice. The next field that's important to us is the delivery date. Now, the delivery date does not have an impact on billing. It's more so there for your knowledge so that you know when a unit was delivered. For today's example, we'll just assume that 491 Hemlock Boulevard is going to have these toilets delivered on April 10th. So I'll go ahead and select April 10th as a delivery date on these line items. When I do that, you'll notice it automatically adjusts the billing start date to the same date as the delivery date. And that makes sense. When we deliver the unit on the 10th, we want to begin billing that customer for the unit on the 10th. The billing start date is especially important if you prorate, because that's how our system is able to do the math to determine what the customer needs to be billed. If you're entering an existing rental transaction into the system, there's a very good chance that the customer's been renting a portable toilet from you or an asset from you for a long period of time, maybe 2-3 years, and you may not know the delivery date. That is okay. Again, it's just there for your knowledge. Doesn't have an impact on billing. The billing start date is what's most important from a billing perspective. So if a customer has been billed through the entire month of March, we want to make sure that the billing start date is April 1st. At this point, though, we know that this is a new rental, so the delivery date is going to match the billing start date. I will not edit the billing start date here. The next step is to get this rental transaction on the route schedule for delivery and for service. So we can now head to the far most right column here, and you'll see a field that says Select Route. This is where we can select our route driver, and I have some generic route drivers set up, Route 1, Route 2, and Route 10. Go ahead and select Route 1. Then we can select our frequency. Now again, this is a new rental transaction that we're creating, and this has not been delivered. So the first frequency that we're going to select is delivery. Where it says service date, we can now select April 10th because we know that is when we are going to be delivering the units. From this point, we can go ahead and click this red exclamation point icon, and the system will say, would you like to put this customer on the route schedule? We're going to select yes. And it tells us that it's been complete. We have the delivery on the schedule, but we do not have the service on the schedule yet. So that's the next step. Maybe we have a different driver that's going to be handling the services. So we'll switch the route from Route 1 to Route 2. And under Select Frequency, maybe this customer is going to be receiving a weekly service. So we'll select the weekly frequency. The service date should be the date of the first service. So it was delivered on the 10th. Maybe we know that the first service is going to occur 1 week after delivery. That would be April 17th. Once we have this information input, all we need to do is click the red exclamation point again. And it will ask us again if we want to put this on the route schedule. We're going to select yes. And it tells us that it's complete. From this point, I can close the rental transaction, and we can now head to the route schedule to verify that the delivery and the service is now appearing on our schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and click the route schedule icon along the top toolbar, And as you can see, we have a delivery for Route 1 on April 10th. And we also have our weekly service for Route 2 for April 17th. If we need to get back to that rental transaction for any reason, maybe we forgot to add an additional charge, or we input the incorrect billing start date, all we need to do is click the Items Rented icon along the top toolbar of the service program. That will open up this screen right here, and we should see a line item, or we should see a record for each line item that is on the rental transaction. You'll also see right here we're given an invoice number. That's the rental transaction number. All we need to do is double-click that transaction number, and that will get us back into the rental transaction. So at this point, we've entered our rental transaction. We've also we're able to put the delivery and the service on the route schedule. And in a following video, we'll talk about how to bill this transaction and then also how to manage your route schedule for services.